Hi everyone, this is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane. Thank you for being with me on this second day of the Strength Week. Today we're going to be concentrating on our lower back, which is a problem for many of us. It's a huge problem for the majority of the population. At some point in people's lives, they're going to have something going on with their lower back. It's not that we're necessarily going to strengthen our lower back. We're going to be strengthening our glute muscles. And so it's, yes, strengthening our lower back, but the most important thing is that we enhance the muscles of the glute muscles, which are the massive muscles we have right here, right on our bottom. And this way the pressure comes off of the lower back, kind of carrying us, and it now becomes taken by the upper back, which we started with yesterday, and then the glutes as well. So those two working together, your lower back can kind of just hang out and, you know, just there's no pressure on that lower back. The lower back is the stabilizer, but we often try and move with this lower back, but it's not meant to move a lot. It doesn't have much mobility. Our hips do. Our hips can move a lot. So we want to concentrate on the hips and learn how to use the back properly so that we don't end up having problems over time with our lower back, which once that goes, we're in lots of trouble. And if you have had problems, we can actually prevent problems from occurring in the future, or maybe make them a little bit stronger so there's less of an issue. Okay, so let's sit up nice and tall. Let's bring our mind's eye to just around the center of the body, but specifically in the lower back. And closing the eyes for a moment, settling the hands, placing the hands on the thighs. So we'll be concentrating on 3 strengtheners today. There's the few thrown in, but the 3 specific ones you'll see. And then let your shoulders soften down. If you're finding they're creeping up to your ears, just lift them up first and then roll them back and down. Get that sensation of what it's like to have a relaxed shoulders. Allow the face to soften, the lips. And let's start to deepen the breath, breathing into your rib cage, Ujjayi breath, inhaling and exhaling. You will notice a difference in how good you feel after this class. There's no question, it's made a difference in how I felt. And then just gently fluttering your eyelids and open your eyes and come onto your backs, and I'll give you the mantra in a moment. As we transition onto our backs, try not to flop onto your back. Just lower down, 1 vertebra at a time. And take a pause here. Feet are flat on the ground, knees are pointing up. Connecting with the earth, connecting with the ground, feeling that sense of, I'm fine, I'm perfectly safe here. I'm in this present moment and everything's good. Do a few little tucks and tilts of the tailbone so that feel the lower back pressing into the ground, and then lifting up, taking the tailbone and tilting it backwards, and then your lower back lifts off the ground. So do a few little tucks and tilts. That means taking your pelvis and rocking it back and forth. Feeling that the way your hips, your pelvis can move. It can move, rock and roll forward and backwards. It can swivel around. Lots of mobility in the hip joints. So your lower back is the stabilizer. Just keep remembering that. It's the stabilizer. It's not the mover and shaker. The hips are. So coming back to neutral, where your lower back is just, there's a space between your lower back and the ground. Let your arms rest next to your sides and walk your heels until you tap your middle fingers with the heels. If you can't even get close to your middle finger, don't worry about it, because some of us are very, very tight. We can't get it. Let it just get as close as possible, and then take a breath in, arch your lower back, lift it off the ground, then exhale, press your lower back into the ground and lift up. Just the lower back and the middle back. Keep the upper back on the ground. Lift up, engage those glute muscles, those bottom cheeks. Feel them. You can even place your fingers in those muscles. Inhale at the top, and then I want you to exhale, roll down from the middle back to the lower back, all the way down. So our mantra today, let's do that again, is I'm investing my energy in my, in the present moment. So lift up, and I'll go through that. And as you lift up, feeling those glute muscles, this is the present moment. When you touch those glute muscles and they're engaged, right? I'm investing in this moment. Lower yourself down and then release. We're going to do quite a few of these. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, press your lower back into the ground. Peel your back off the ground. Just lift up. It's not about it's not the height as much as concentrating on those glute muscles. The lower back is just there, hanging out. Not doing much of anything. Let's lower ourselves down. Let's do 3 more sets. Inhaling and exhaling, lifting up, gauging those muscles, investing in the power, the energy into these glute muscles. And then lower down. And let's do another set. And this time actually we're going to pause, we're going to stay up. You can choose to go higher if you'd like, to lift the upper back off the ground if you want to go a little bit higher. Palms facing down. Squeeze those inner thighs as if you have a big block between your legs. So you're engaging those inner thigh muscles and your shins are pushing forward. But your feet are stuck to the ground. There's no way those feet are moving, but the shins are trying to push forward. You're engaging the body from the hips down to the feet. Breathing in and breathing out, feeling those muscles working like mad. Inhaling and then exhaling. Let's lower ourselves down slowly, 1 vertebra at a time. Hug your knees into your chest. Let yourself sway from side to side, massaging your lower back. If you have any pain in your lower back as we do some of these exercises, come out of it. Go into a child's pose. Cross your ankles, and you're going to roll up into a seat or come onto one side. Once you're up, slide your bottom back to maybe almost the front of the mat, 1/4 of the way in, and sit up nice and tall. Those with back issues or have had back issues, you're going to bend the knees and you're going to pull the belly in, and forward bends are pulling the belly in and rounding the spine. Those that have no issues whatsoever, you can straighten those legs or bend them. Interlace those hands, sweep your arms up. We're concentrating on hinging at the hips. Back issue people, don't hinge at the hips. Just pull the belly in and round. Those without back issues, lean forward as if there's a string attached to the center of your chest, and then inhale, lift back up. So you're only coming about halfway. And then forward fold. Halfway. Inhale, lift, And then exhale, let's come all the way down. Release the hands from one another. Place the hands next to your feet. If you perchance you do touch your feet, you could slide the hands on the soles of the feet, or not. Let the hands rest next to your legs. Take a breath in, lift up halfway, let the chest lift and telescope towards your toes, and then release down, fold forward. Inhaling, lifting up. And as you're doing this, slide the shoulder blades down your back. And then exhaling, releasing down. So you're coming up, my hands are very close to my feet, but some of us, they might be at your knees. They might be at your shins, who knows. And then forward fold. So you're lifting up, nice straight spine, and then releasing down. And inhale, let's reach your arms forward beyond your feet, unless you're a back issue person. And then lift all the way up to sitting nice and tall. Roll the shoulders back, and then push the hands forward and lean back, rounding now, pulling the belly in. You're taking your spine and creating a little dome. And then inhale, lift back up nice and tall. And then just push the hands out as if you're trying to push things away out to the sides like an airplane wing. And then sweep the arms forward, lift up again, roll the arms back and push forward, pull the belly in. And you're rounding through the spine. Feel free to place the feet flat on the ground with the knees bent if that's easier. And inhale, lift up, nice and tall. And then push the hands away, and let's just release, and just little shoulder rolls. Cross your ankles. See if you can come onto your hands and knees without your hands. Constantly trying to strengthen your core. Hands on the now, you can place your hands on the ground. Connect with the earth with those hands. Spreading those fingers, pressing the thumbs, index fingers. Little sways from side to side with the upper body now. Let your head drop. So leave your hips where they are. Not much is happening in those hips. Loosening up your back. And then let's press back into a child's pose, but with your arms reaching forward, stuck to the ground. Maybe walk the fingers a little further forward. Reconnect. Thumbs, index fingers. Index finger is at that 12 o'clock. Inhaling, I want you to get as close to the ground as possible. You can even place your forearms on the ground. Slide forward. And then lift until your shoulders and elbows are in line, then lift up, round through the spine. Cat stretch. Press back, hands are glued at this point. Press back into a child's pose. Place the forearms down maybe, and slide forward through the arms, through your cow shape, and then lift up nice and tall, straighten those arms, and round through the spine. And then press back one more time. Elbows either close or resting on the ground, slither forward as if you are a cat. Sliding, you're ready to pounce. There's a mouse in front of you. And then you're lifting up, and then you decide, I'm going to stretch round. And then sit back on your heels just for a moment, stretching out those thighs. If that doesn't work, then feel free to come off your heels. Little wrist circles, little shoulder rolls. Just loosen up those shoulders. If you did the class yesterday, you're going to feel a lot. So bring the arms forward. You can do this off your heels if you'd like, or on your heels. Just bring the backs of the hands together and peel open those arms, and then forward, and back. Forward and back. As you do this, not much is happening in your lower back is arching and rounding, but just there, not much is happening with it. And then bring the arms up towards the sky, place the hands back down on the ground. Okay, tabletop. Slide those hands wrists underneath your shoulders, reposition those hands, extend your left leg back behind you, kick it behind you. Make sure that left heel is in line with your hip joint and reach your right arm forward. So what you're doing here, so you don't want your left leg to be too high or too low, kick that left heel back and take a breath in. And as you breathe out, bend your left leg just to a 90-degree angle. Sole of the foot is pointing upwards. Hold, 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 hold. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, re-straighten that left leg, and then place that right hand down, left knee down. Do a few little circles of the hips. Little hula hoop hips. Same in the other direction, same amount. And then come back to center. Kick your right leg back now, yeah? In, and then left arm forward. Spin that left palm to the right side of the mat, looking down towards the front of your mat. Take a breath in. Now these are the glute muscles working, those bottom cheeks, the hamstrings. Bend your right leg. Just hold, 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 hold. Hold, 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 hold. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, re-straighten, but do it slow. Slow, slow, slow. And then place that left hand down, right knee down, and press back into your child's. Let your lower back stretch. And then inhale back into your tabletop, either an extended child's pose, like what I'm doing now with my arms forward, or, as you know, downward dog. For those that have been following me for a while, downward dog. Those are the two options. I always say extended child's for those that might be new to this class, because some people can't hold downward dog for too long, maybe one breath. So you have an option. You can go into do a downward dog, then go back into your extended child's. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, walk your feet to the front of the mat, and then come to, once you're there, take the opposite hand to the opposite elbow. Let gravity pull you down, the arms, the head, but at the same time, take your shoulder blades, draw them down. How do you do that? It's actually drawing up, but it's sliding them away from your ears, even in this position. That's strange. Release the hands from your elbows. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, I want you to roll up. So you're doing this ragdoll roll where your back is stretching and your belly is engaged. Once you reach up to this nice and tall in your mountain pose, inhale, spin the palms up to the sky, reach the arms up, bring your hands to your heart center. So then number two, there's probably four, but well, I'll say this is number two exercise. Soften the knees or bend them. I want you to lean forward. Back issue people, you're going to do that ragdoll roll up. Those without back issues, I want you to hinge at the hips and come halfway. And hold, take an inhale and then lift back up. Inhale and then exhale halfway. Inhale at the bottom and exhale, lift back up. So using these muscles, belly muscles, breathing in, and as you breathe out, lower down halfway, as if you're bowing. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lift up. Any tweakiness in the back, do your ragdoll rolls. Hands to heart. Let's do one more time this way. This time we come halfway. We pause, and then we lower all the way down to the ground. Release. Do a little bit of maybe pedaling of the feet if you can, even if your hands cannot touch the ground. Just loosen up, maybe a bounce with the legs. Stretching out that lower back, the quads, the glutes. And then let's take a breath in, and let's step back into our downward dogs, or that extended child's pose. Let's inhale into your plank. Now we're going to do something a little bit challenging today. Knees can be down or up. I will keep my knees down for this one. Not underneath your hips unless you're really struggling. So options underneath your hips, but a plank with the knees down is behind your hips. Position those hands, elbows, and shoulders and wrists are in line. Take a breath in, and I want you just to lower down halfway. And then lift back up. Now if your elbows are opening out to the sides, that is not a chaturanga. Squeeze them in towards each other until the eye of your elbows are pointing forward, and then bend halfway. Some of us, this is going to be way too hard. So let's do one more time, and this time we're going to lower down. Hinge forward, bend, hold halfway, and then come all the way down. Why not, right? Take a pause here. Make a pillow with your arms to open the legs wide and little shakes of the hips from side to side. Forehead resting on your hips or a cheek. Breathing in and out. So I'm going to spin around, making sure that you have space to bring your arms forward. We're going into our final exercise for our lower back to strengthen the lower back, but obviously the glutes. Come off your pillow, extend your arms forward. So you'll see, this is called a swimmer. So what you're doing here is you're looking down to the ground. Your arms are shoulder distance apart. Your feet are hip distance apart. You're going to lift your right leg up and your left arm up with the palms facing, actually, I don't think it matters, but face the palms down. And then just switch. Left leg and right arm up. Opposite. Now, important thing, engage those bottom muscles first, then lift your right leg and left arm up. Down. Left leg, right arm up. Down. This is easy. You can do both arms and both legs at once. We'll do that in a moment. But get into this, engage those glute muscles. Down. Right leg up, left arm up. Down. Right arm up, left arm up. You shouldn't be filling your back. Let's do 2 more sets. Opposite arm, opposite leg. And now just lower down for a second. Do a little bit of a shake of those hips if that's okay for your lower back. You can choose to come into a tabletop now, or you can do both arms and both legs. Lift, lift, as if you're on the top of the water, just floating. And this is tough, but squeeze those bottom cheeks as if you have a coin between them, and then lower down and slide the hands next to the chest. Come into a tabletop. Feel that back, and these beautiful muscles here. Strong, strong glute muscles. Yeah, that's what we want. And then press back into a child's pose. Now we can stretch. So the thing about yoga that has helped me is the working these strengthening my legs and my bottom muscles, and they've become quite pronounced. But you know what? I'd rather that than have back problems, right? So they've become much stronger. Come into your tabletop and then come onto that right hip and spin your legs forward. So as we transition down onto our backs, take your time. Invest in your energy in the presence of this moment, yeah? Of this moment of just gently lowering yourself on your back. No rushing. And once you're down, I know some people plop. I have no idea if you're plopping, but try not to. Hug your knees into your chest. And then take your arms out to the sides, drop your knees to the left, turn your gaze to the right. I tend to do this spinal twist because I think it's the better spinal twist. There's a bunch of different ones, but this one's really good for the lower back. So feel that lower back. You're going to feel it, actually. And then pick your knees back up. So tomorrow we won't do lower back. We'll move on to our front of our body. Open the arms out to the sides, drop your knees to the right, so that we balance things out. You don't overcook a muscle area. You do it slowly to the point where you hardly know it's happening. It's so subtle that all of a sudden you're strong. You don't even know it, when it happened. Bring your knees back up. Give yourself another hug. Forehead to your knees. Hug, 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 hug. And then Shavasana. 2 to 5 minutes. Take your left leg to the left corner of the mat, right to the right. Let your arms rest out to the sides. Everything melts down to the ground. Make sure your shoulders are not creeping up to your ears. Just lift up your upper back, slide those shoulder blades down, and then close your eyes. Chin is slightly tucked. Let your lower back melt into the ground. Once your bottom cheeks get really tight, the lower back finds it very difficult to touch the ground because you have such beautiful big bottom muscles. That's okay. We want those. And then I'm going to find my way up to seal the practice. Taking your time in your Shavasana, 2 to 5 minutes. So for those who are new to my class, I seal the practice, but you continue on in your Shavasana, and then you come out, just like I'm coming out. Slowly, I come over to my right side, and I pause in a fetal position, and then I come up and sit for another minute or so in my cross-legged seat. This is an opportunity to check in with yourself, to notice the difference between how you felt when you first sat down. It also eases you into the day and off the mat, as opposed to abruptly throwing you back into the world. As I bring my hands in front of my heart, reminding you of that mantra. So we're here to invest energy into the present moment. Invest in your present moment. We put energy into so many different places, but rarely the present moment. Have a lovely, lovely rest of the day. Thank you for being with me. This is Rebecca Jane at yogawithrebeccajane.com. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for being with me. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel and comment and all those things that we do on YouTube. It would be wonderful and give me a thumbs up. Have a lovely day, everyone. Namaste.